Well, well, what's up? I finally finished a lot of the books I was reading. And by a lot of them, I mean the two that I was reading. And I have a bone to pick because the one book was a New York Times bestseller and I thought it was absolutely horrible. And that book is The Life of Pi. I did not like that book at all. And I liked the movie. And I haven't seen the movie in like 6 years. But from what I remember, there's like definitely something in my eye right now. I liked the movie. I thought it was good. There's a lot of stuff that I don't remember ever being in the movie that's in the book. And I know that's usually the case with a book because they're so much bigger. But I think they deliberately left some stuff out because they're just like, this is just messed up stuff. I'm not even going to put it in here, and then the book just has it. I don't know. So, spoiler alert for this one. If you want to read this book or go see the movie, go do it. But anyway, so my main beef, the main problem with this thing is the author rambles on. Well, his explanations are over the top, and there's just way too much explanation. Like, I think in the beginning of the book, he's describing pools, and I just remember thinking, like, I know what a pool looks like. You can give me a paragraph. You don't have to describe. He describes, like, or she, I don't know who wrote it. They describe pools right off the bat, and this is a reoccurring problem. They go through, like, what 10 different pools look like, or like 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, but like, it's huge explanations for what every pool looks like. They describe the water, the people there, the atmosphere, what the sky looks like, and just detail like 10 pages per pool. So it's like I'm 30, 40 pages into this book, and it's just been pure just explaining what pools look like. And it's all leading up to there's some grand pool that he's named after. And he's like, that's how I got my name. It's like, really? You couldn't describe those other pools in just a paragraph? And I think that was my main problem. Because then they're describing a zoo. His parents own a zoo, and it just describes the animals, like each one in painstaking detail. And then the main theme of the book is he's trapped on a life raft with a tiger. So in the beginning of the book, you first see the tiger, and they explain this tiger in, again, like 10 pages, and it's like, I know what a tiger looks like. Give me one page because the tiger is a main character, whatever. But then later in the book, when he gets on the raft with the tiger, it explains the tiger again in like another 10 pages, and it was like, I already know what this specific tiger looks like to the detail of every fur. I know what his eyes look like in the shadow around him, and his tail, and just his fingernails, his claws. It's just too much. And it was like, I remember the lowest point in the book was towards the end. I was in the second half. I've just been muscling through it, all these explanations, because, you know, it's a good book in between. Other than that, if you can get through that, like if you can skip the explanation pages, which I imagine everyone does. I can't imagine people sitting through this. But if you get through that, the story's actually really good. It's like someone took a 40,000 word story, and they're like, this is really good, but we can't sell it. It needs to be 100,000 words. So stretch this 40,000 awesome word story into 100,000 words, and it's just pure filler and just pure. He chose to like put explanations in there after explanation, and it's like the lowest point was in the second half, and he starts explaining what different sharks look like because he's trapped on this raft, and he's like, all these sharks went by, and he starts going into just in great detail what these sharks look like. And I know what a shark looks like, man. You can give me a paragraph. It had whatever grayish skin and black eyes and big teeth. Done. And you don't have to be like, explain that shark, and it takes 5 pages, 10 pages, and then you start on what a tiger shark looks like, just to like explain what he saw as he was sitting in the raft over the matching days, and you're just telling me 5 different sharks what they look like in a row. Like, you googled sharks and then you just explained in just way too much detail. A paragraph will do it. 5 sentences max, and to be honest, I think that's too much. My main characters don't get that much explanation. Like, leave something to the reader's imagination, and you gotta go into it knowing that you can describe something and know that people know. If you say it was a panda, I'm picturing a chubby bear with black and white fur, and you can literally say that just to kind of put the picture in my head. You don't need to be like, tell me what its grandmother was, its behavior was. I don't know. That was my main flaw. That book drove me nuts. And I think it went over so well in the movie because you can't put all that into a movie. And a picture's worth 1,000 words. But normally a movie's problem is you can't fit it all in. And so you have to kind of pick and choose what you want to put in. Well, when they're making the movie, they had to be like, well, look at all this just nonsense. There's a really good 40,000 words worth of a movie in here. Let's just put that in. I think that's why it transfers so good. Is the movie is what the story should have been. Having said that, the 40,000 word part of it was really good. I enjoyed that. I just had to get through the other 60,000 words worth of filler. At one point, he like randomly floats into another person in the water who's also trapped, and it's kind of explained in the book. Like, this is like a huge part that they left out of the movie, is he ends up running into this guy, but he's gone just blind from malnutrition and being sick, and the other guy was blind too, and then they end up, the guy's a crook, and the tiger ends up killing the other guy. And then later, at the end, which is not really, I don't remember it being in the movie at all, because I don't remember this guy, but in the end, they kind of explain how he actually was never trapped in a boat with a tiger, and it was actually real people, including his mom and a cook and then one of the helpers from the ship that sank. And it was just such a horrific thing, like with people getting murdered and his mom getting murdered, and basically when the blind man, the tiger kills the blind man, it's actually him who kills the blind man, and it's just another passenger on the ship with him at the time. And so like in his head, he's made up this whole story, and he's like, it's better than the truth. And at the end of the story, they're kind of like, he's like, what would you rather hear? That I saw all this horrific stuff happen to all these people, and it was just people turned on each other and ate each other, and we like started murdering each other and just went crazy, or that I survived on this raft with a tiger and all these animals. And then that's kind of how the book goes, but it's kind of like he admits that it was the people one, and then the very end of the book it goes, in the report that the guy's given, who he's telling the story to, the guy mentions how spectacular of a story it is for him to survive so long with the Bengal tiger. As in, Pi gave him both stories in the end. He's like, fine, you want the truth? Here's the truth, but here's the better story I gave you. Which would you rather have? It doesn't make a difference. Everyone's dead anyway, and I survived. What story do you want? And then the guy's like, okay, I'll take the fantasy animal one. And that's how the book ends. And that's awesome. For 40,000 words. Yeah. And then I finished the Chip Gaines book. And I don't know, it was It was a bad run of books, I guess. I mean, Chip Gaines is alright. It was nice to learn about him. He seems like a cool guy and everything. What they're doing is great down there. That was cool and all, but didn't really inspire me or nothing. Yeah, I had a pretty bad run of books. Except for the good parts. But that's it. That was Life of Pi. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Ugh. Just why? Why do you have to explain so much? I'm gonna test out a new logo. My cousin just emailed me one, so I'll put it up for him. He's like, hey, I made you this. I'm like, alright. Looked pretty sweet. I didn't get a good look at it yet. I'll post this video and then I'll try and put that on there. Alright. Catch you guys later.